Waiting for something to happen. It's almost 7 o'clock. Well, at least it doesn't say 7 o'clock up there. I think this stuff's supposed to move and everything, but they have it under repairs. Look, that one doesn't even say 7.
I think the building could use a little renovation. Any day now.
It says 7 o'clock, but the intro music comes on at 7 o'clock.
Huh?
Oh, here we go.
Hello, and welcome to the Time Machine Theater. My name is John, here to help me tell the story today are my good friends, Sarah and Casey. How are you all feeling today? You know me?
Great.
Oh, yeah. Brought down by the weather, I'm sure. Well, we're going to bring up your spirits a little bit with a fun story we like to call the Meister Singers of Nuremberg. Now, how many of you have seen our shows before? A couple of you, all right. For those of you who have not seen our shows before, we have a special kind of show where we are in costume, but we are not the stars of the show because we let each and every one of you be the stars. In just a few moments, you'll have the chance to come up here and put on some of our costumes and be the actors and actresses in our story. As I said before, our story this year is the Meister Singers of Nuremberg. Now, I think we should meet. Oh, scary over there. I think we should meet some of the characters. I want you to think back to 14th century Germany, a place where there lived the burghers. Not the kind of burgers you eat, but the kind of burgers that lived in burgs. These were very proud people because they grew gigantic broccoli and beets and baked gigantic pies. Now, not only were these pies and foodstuffs good for eating, but in case they came under attack, they could use them to pop their enemies on the head. So if you like fighting with food and not getting in trouble, you have the possibility of being a burger. As well as the burgers, there's the leader of the burgers, who is the Burgermeister. The Burgermeister can be seen walking around with his big giant key and red hat. The Burgermeister is blessed with a beautiful daughter named Clotilda. Clotilda loves to sing, but her fish likes to flip and flop, and when it flops out of her hands, she loses her composure and can no longer sing. So we'll need some people to play Clotilda and the Burgermeister. I hear moms and dads make great Burgermeisters. Now we move over to the Black Forest of Germany. They're not black because they're actually green. It's just so dark in there. It seems that way. There's a few little fuzzy animals moving around the forest. I see some bunny rabbits with some big floppy ears, and even a turtle or two, and maybe even a wild forest chicken. Now, can anyone tell me what this animal is? Shout it out.
Skunk.
That's right, it's a skunk. We're going to need someone to play our little stinker in our story. Now, some say that there's even a dragon living in the forest somewhere, and even a unicorn. But you'll have to stick around to find out. Now, we move over to the most important place in all the kingdom of Nuremberg, and that is the Royal Palace. In it resides the king or queen with her golden crown and long, long golden robe. The king or queen is also blessed with many beautiful daughters with flowers in their hair, beautiful dresses, who love to carry the robe of their parents because they're so nice. Now, what would a castle be without, yes, the Royal Knights? If you're feeling brave, you can come up, arm yourself with a sword and shield, and be in a real slow-motion battle. Just be careful with your sword. I think that's just about all the characters. Are you all ready to have some fun? Now see, I hear a lot of young voices, but this is not just a show for the young, but also the young at heart. Grown-ups, we're going to need your help out there. We're going to need some people to play the dragon, the king or the queen, or even the Burgermeister. All right, now when I count to 3, you can run over to whichever costume trunk has the costume you would like to put on. But we ask that you not pick up any of the costumes or props until myself or my friends come over and help me, all right? 1, 2, banana! Oh, I counted to banana. I'm so sorry. You're going to have your listening ears on ready for this story. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. Head over to your favorite costume trunk and we'll get you all dressed.
Don't pick them up.
Go ahead, go up there and play a knight. Doing pretty good against his dad.
We have a plethora of princesses, but it seems as though we don't have a Burgermeister or any burgers. We've got some forest animals. Does anyone like to fight with some food? We also need a mom or dad to be the Burgermeister, as well as a mom or dad who would like to be our king or queen. Anyone out there? Would you like to be in the story? On Story to be? Right.
Oh, we got one. Just gonna play the dragon.
Oh no, she got to put the head on. How many times do you think that gets sanitized?
Alright. We still need a king. Is there anyone out there who likes to be a king? You, sir, you look pretty regal. Would you like to be our king or our story? Fantastic, fantastic.
I'm filming this production. Oh, they went to Chick-fil-A and got the chicken tenders. Who did that?
It just says something that probably isn't true.
Well, we're heading over there then,
Where?
after our little show.
The pizza place?
Yeah, right over there. That's not a pizza place. Pizza place behind you. See, where else can you get a dinner in a movie? At Knobles. Or dinner in a show.
Alright. Getting everyone ready. We've got our Burgermeister. We've got our king. We've got our dragon. We've got our princesses. We've got our knights. We've got our burgers. We've got our animals. We're just about ready. Our king's crown.
Right? Alright, so far it's a 15-minute show.
Burger if anybody would like to come up. Also, you get much better camera angles from off the stage.
Wonder what they have left?
Huh?
I wonder what they have left for you to do.
Me?
Ah,
Yeah.
just- then it'd be really a show. Okay, get up there. Your star performance on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Come on.
We still have some time for anyone who would like to join our story. We still have plenty of costumes to spare.
Oh, look at the little puppy.
We got our stuff. Fireworks. Just getting the skunk dress now. All right, looks
That was
like
the
we're
last
about ready
one?
to have our story. Let's give a round of applause for all these brave volunteers. Very, very, very jealous. Now, for those of you who got here late, our story this year is the Meister Singers of Nuremberg. Now, there was one thing in the whole kingdom of Nuremberg that made it special in all the world, and that is that everyone in the kingdom loved to sing. They loved singing so much that every year the king or queen would hold an annual singing contest to decide who the best singer was. It has become tradition that 2 days before the singing contest, the king would march down to the village square and announce what that year's prize would be. Sometimes it was gold, sometimes it was jewels once. It was even a palace overlooking the Rhine River. It looks like we're just about ready to have that announcement now. The knights lift their banners high. The lead knight puts the trumpet to his lips and blows. They march out from the palace, left, right. And you people in the audience get
One
the
with
special
thy
role
sword
of
bigger
the
than
people
thy
of
body.
Nuremberg. And when you see your great knights, what do you want to do but cheer for your brave foes? And out from the palace, behind the clumsy knights, came the king himself, walking down to the village square. When the people of the kingdom saw him, they all cheered. The king raised his hands. The king raised his hands and said, "Ladies and gentlemen of the kingdom of Nuremberg, I know you love me, but I love you too, which is why the winner of this year's singing contest will win the best prize ever given in the history of this kingdom." The king said, "The winner will win the hand of one of these most beautiful princesses in marriage." The crowd went wild. And ladies, don't you worry. If a lady happens to win the singing contest, she will win the hand of one of these most handsome knights. This time the ladies went wild. Before the king could leave, the burghers ran up to the king and began whispering in his ear. Even one of the little knights joined in. They pointed over at the dragon, and then pointed at the princesses. The king nodded his head and said, "Just one more rule. There will be no dragons in this year's singing contest. Thank you very much, burghers." The burghers returned to their burg very, very happy. And the king waved goodbye to his adoring subjects and returned to his palace with his princesses. Now the smile that the king had been wearing all morning slowly turned into a frown, and the king suddenly stopped and began to cry. "Let it out, your majesty. Let out all your emotion. You're so devastated." It was so loud we had to censor it out. The king's crying was so loud that all the princesses dropped his robe and went running out in front of him to see what was the matter. They said, "Papa, Papa, why are you crying so quietly?" He said, "Oh, princesses, I have made a terrible mistake. I was in such a good mood this morning that I promised the winner of the singing contest that he could marry one of you. But I don't want to see any of you go." All the princesses scratched their heads. And then they started jumping up and down because they had a great idea. And they said, "Papa, Papa, what if one of us in the singing contest, yeah? Then no one will have to marry no one." The king thought, "That is a wonderful idea.
That is
That's
the
best
biggest
idea
lion
had
I've ever
since breakfast."
seen.
But to
Right
ensure you
there.
win the singing contest,
In the
princesses,
wild.
I want you to go out into the meadow and practice and practice and practice until you're the best singers in the land. Can you do that? All the princesses nodded their heads and said, yes, Papa. And the king gathered up his robe and went skipping back to his throne room. Now the princesses didn't waste any time. They followed their father's wishes and went running out into the singing meadow and got ready to practice. They spread their arms apart and began spinning in circles. Suddenly, the animals from the forest came running out to see what all the commotion was. They began running around, and the princesses spotted the cute little fuzzy animals and began chasing the animals about. They were having just a wonderful
I
time.
think we got a Broadway show here.
When slowly creeping up by the forest was a dragon. The princesses kept chasing the animals and the dragon said, so, not only have I been banned from the singing contest, but the king has sent these princesses to kidnap my animals so they cannot sing either. Well, I'll get even with him. The dragon crouched behind a bush and called out in her sweetest voice, yoo-hoo, princesses. All the princesses stopped. The animals went running back into the forest. The dragon jumped out and the princesses screamed. But they were suddenly hypnotized. They lifted their arms as if they were sleepwalking and went up to the dragon and began carrying her tail as if it was their father's cape. The dragon began to chuckle. Ho, 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 ho. Come with me, my little pretty. The dragon led the princesses back into the forest. I hope you like macaroni and cheese. I'm singing. And so the princesses were all led away. It wasn't long before the king stepped out onto his balcony and looked up at the clock tower and noticed that the princesses were gone much too long. He turned to his knights saying, Knights, sound the alarm! The princesses have gone missing! So the knights dropped their banners and went running out into the field to look for their sisters. And even their swords, they were so excited they just wanted to find the princesses, they didn't know what to do. The bravest knight charged forth to look for the sisters who had gone missing. Over the trouble with their swords, and then they were ready to look. But one knight wasn't so sure that they would find them. The other knights looked around, but they found no sight of the princesses. They returned to the king and said, We could not find her, your majesty. And the king looked at his knights and said, Knights, I know what has happened. You see that burger over there in the bird with her pink shirt and her key? I'll bet you anything that she kidnapped the princesses because she wants her daughter, Clotilda, to win the singing contest. Well, we'll get even with him. Huddle up, knights. All the knights huddled up around the king, and the king told them his plan. The king said, All right, knights, when Chloe goes out into the singing meadow to practice, I want you to sneak up on her and bring her back to the palace. Can you do that for me? And all the knights said, Yeah! Very, very quietly, they did. So the knights went off, hiding in the meadow, and the king returned to his palace. It wasn't long before Clotilda herself came running out into the meadow after her mom looked at her fish. Chloe came running out into the meadow. She lifted her arms and began spinning about. She was like a young Julie Andrews. But before any sound of music could be made, the animals once again came running out of the forest and began running around Clotilda. She saw them and began chasing the animals about. She said, Come here, little skunky, come here. The knights began creeping up on them. All the animals noticed the knights and went running back into the forest. Clotilda said, Wait, where are you going? They snuck up and jumped out, and Clotilda screamed. They surrounded Clotilda and brought her back to the king. They said, "We found her, your majesty." And the king said, "Great job, knights. Now lock her away in the tallest tower." They led Chloe to the tallest tower, and there she was locked away. Now, it wasn't long before it was the Burgermeister's turn to be worried, for her daughter had not returned from the singing meadow. She went out to look for her. She looked up. She looked down. She looked under her left foot, under her right foot, under her hat. But nothing. She couldn't find anything until she saw on the ground footprints and the fish prints of her fish. She followed the flippy-floppy trail all the way to the base of the tower. And she looked up, and what do you think she saw waving out the window? No, not Chloe's hand, Chloe's fish. Chloe threw down the fish to her mother, and she caught it. The Burgermeister went back over to the square and consulted with the pie maker. He said, "Do you think this is Chloe's fish?" And the pie maker said, "I'm not sure." The pie maker took hold of the fish. She sniffed it. She listened to it. She even licked it. Said, "Yeah, I think that's Chloe's fish. That only means one thing, that the king has kidnapped Chloe." The burghers walked over to the palace gates and began banging on it, going, "We want Chloe back! We want Chloe back!" Very quietly again. The king stepped out and stuck his tongue out at them and said, "You're not going to get Chloe back, but here's what you're going to get. Knights, slow motion, attack!" The knights burst forth, and they slow motion attacked. The burghers were very confused. They didn't know what was going on. Neither did the knights, apparently, until the Burgermeister got her secret fighting sausage, her Kielbasa. And thus began the famous Battle of the Burghers. You're seeing the greatest sword fighters in Germany against the greatest food fighters in Germany. The pie lady was just waiting there, waiting for her moment to attack. And still she did not attack. The Burgermeister was getting all she could take, and suddenly a pie went flying out onto the battlefield. And then another, but it was blocked away by the brave knights. The battle raged on, all through the night, until the burghers looked at their vegetables and foodstuffs and realized that they were getting mushy and chopped up. They knew they needed to think of something quick, so all the burghers pointed behind the knights and said, "Knights, look over there!" All the knights turned around, and while they were looked away, the burghers bopped them on the head. All the knights fell to the ground unconscious. Some of them took a bit longer to fall down than others. But the burghers were victorious! The king stepped out onto the battlefield and said, "All right, burghers, you may have buns of war." One knight is still ready to fight. He's looking at his comrades saying, "What is wrong?" But finally, he succumbs to exhaustion and falls down. He doesn't want to fall down. He's too strong for that. He stands by his king, and the king says, "All right, burghers, you hear that bell? There's only 1 hour left before the singing contest. If we don't settle our differences, then no one's gonna get to marry nobody." So, the king said, "Where are my prisoners?" And the Burgermeister said, "Let's make a deal, your majesty. You give us Chloe back, and you can have all the prisoners you like." And the king said, "All right." And so Chloe was freed from the tower. She ran up to her mother, gave her a great big hug, and then hugged her fish. And the king said, all right, enough of this mushy stuff. Where are my princesses?" The burghers looked at each other, and they shrugged. They didn't know, and they said, "We thought they were with you." And the king stomped his foot and said, "If you don't have them, then who does?" All of a sudden began the worst earthquake in Nuremberg history. The ground began to rattle and shake. Very violently, everyone began to shake and move about. The knights shook up to their feet. The shaking was so bad. All the animals were shaken out of the forest. Everyone bounced up and down over to this side of the kingdom. There was so much rumbling and bumbling. Suddenly out from the forest came the source of this earthquake. It was the horribly ugly dragon! Everyone in the kingdom screamed! Except for the king. The king marched right up to that scaly beast with a knife by his side and poked that dragon right in the nose, going, "Hey, dragon! I just happened to notice that you've got my princesses carrying your tail. What is the meaning of that?" The dragon bowed to the knight and the king, saying, "Your Majesty, for 100 years, dragons have been allowed to sing in the singing contest, but you have banned me from singing. Well, I happen to be a dragon that loves to sing. Let's make a deal, Your Majesty. I will unhypnotize your princesses if you allow me to sing." The king scratched his beard. With not much time to think, he said, "All right, dragon, you can sing in this singing contest." And so the dragon turned back to the princesses and winked at them, and they were all unhypnotized. But they held on to the dragon's tail because they had grown quite fond of her while living in the forest, eating macaroni and cheese and singing. And so the king said, "Wait a minute, who's going to carry my robe?" And all the burghers shouted, "We will!" All the burghers ran up, and for the first time in Nuremberg history, they had the great honor of carrying the king's robe. "Follow me," said the king. And they all marched towards the singing pavilion. The knights followed the king, as well as the animals. That's right, and when they arrived in the singing pavilion, the crowd saw this procession and went absolutely wild. They were so happy, so ready to see some singing. One by one, they entered the singing pavilion. Then they all stopped and sat where they were, except for the king, who gathered up his robe. The king gathered up his robe and got every name of everyone in the kingdom. The king took his place on the royal podium. Many people sang very beautifully that day. Up there, Your Majesty. Up there, Your Majesty. Many people sang very beautiful that day. Some not so beautifully. Until the king reached into his crown for the second to last name. And he called out the name Clotilda. Chloe stood up and took her place in the square. She curtsied to the king, and then to the audience, and again to the king, and once more to the audience, and one more to the king. And the king said, all right, enough curtsying, get on with your singing, Chloe." Chloe spread her arms apart, opened her mouth wide, faced the audience. Her song was beautiful, but suddenly her fish began to flip and flop and wiggle and jiggle and bloop right out of her hands. Chloe had lost her voice. She scooped up her fish and went running over to the king and said, "Oh, please, Your Majesty, please give me another chance. My fish, it slipped." He said, "Your what?" And Chloe waved her fish in the king's face and said, "See this fish? It slipped." The king took hold of the fish. And while inspecting the fish, it began to wiggle and jiggle and whoop out of his hands too. It got a concussion. Chloe scooped up her fish, and the king said, "That is one slippery fish. All right, Chloe, you get one more chance, but that is it." Chloe took her space back in the square, and she began to sing again, even more beautifully. This time, the skunk, remembering that Chloe tried to ban the dragon from the singing contest, snuck up behind Clotilda, lifted up her tail, and did what skunks do best. Chloe pinched her nose and everyone began to laugh. She went running back to her mother and said, "I never want to sing again." The skunk took a bow and everyone thought she was beautiful. The king said, "Sit down, skunk, or I'm going to make a rule that you can't sing next year." The king reached into his crown for the final name. And when he read it, his mouth dropped open. he read aloud, "Dragon!" Everyone in the kingdom had completely forgotten that the dragon was going to be singing in the singing contest. And as the dragon took her place, everyone began to laugh at how ridiculous she looked. But the dragon paid them no mind. The dragon simply spread her claws, opened her big ugly mouth, and this is what she sounded like. It was amazing. No one in the kingdom had ever heard such mastery. They were all in amazement. They even began to sob. Even the king began to cry, but for a different reason. He thought, oh no, if this dragon's in the singing contest, I'm going to have a lizard-in-law. The dragon's song was absolutely breathtaking. It was so beautiful that it awoke a unicorn from the forest. The unicorn came to see who was making this beautiful music and saw it was a pitiable, ugly dragon. She ran down to it, touching the dragon once on her snout and once on her heart. Away came the dragon's ugly scales, and there standing there was the most beautiful princess you have ever seen in your life. For the dragon. The king said, settle down everyone, don't get ahead of yourselves. Sit down, dragon, we have not yet decided the winner. The dragon took a seat. She decided to sit in the square. She was very confident she was going to win. The king reached into his crown for that special piece of paper that showed up every year to announce the winner. He pulled out and read, the winner of the singing contest this year is the dragon! And everyone went wild! The dragon stood up and the king said, congratulations, you lucky dragon. Alright, which one of these people you want to marry? So the dragon walked over and eyed some of the brave knights until her eyes met the eyes of that one knight she knew she would love forever. She brought that knight before the king, and the king married the two that self-same hour. By the power vested in me, you two are married. And everyone in the kingdom stood up and cheered. Even the princess. They all ran over to the knight and the dragon and began congratulating them on their wonderful union. They started patting them on the back, giving them handshakes. They were all so happy for them. Even the animals came to say hello, all of the knights. And it was then that they all did the strangest thing of all. They all turned to the audience and took a great big bow. Let's give a big round of applause for these brave volunteers. Thank you all. Now for all wondering what makes the unicorn horn so special, it's because it stands for the power of truth. Another secret is that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 video cameras that have recorded this show live to DVD. We will have those DVDs ready for purchase in just a few minutes, but as well as that, we also have some fantastic souvenirs. We also have hand-painted unicorn horn necklaces, a storybook explaining the magic of the unicorn horn, and special for our 27th,
I can sit there.
beautiful unicorn horn crowns. Thank you all for being our volunteers and being the audience. We hope you have a wonderful evening here at Knobles Grove.
Cool.
Once again, thank you very much.
Yeah, there's one up there. They get one in each of the
Oh,
mailboxes.
that's pretty cool.
So you get it from all angles.
All right, the show is over.